everyone, Liberty Doll here. This past week, CRTV posted a teaser for Roaming Millennial's newest video about the problems with libertarians. If you haven't seen it, the teaser video not only grossly overgeneralized, but also complained about something that isn't actually libertarianism. Her complaints were that libertarians nominated Gary Johnson, which, well, I can give her that, and also that libertarians only care about legalizing pot and prostitution at the expense of ignoring economics and gun rights.
They seem way more concerned with legalizing weed and prostitution than they do enforcing things like, I don't know, economic freedoms or Second Amendment rights. Like, we get it. You like pot. Maybe we talk about business regulations now. Just for a sec.
She also complained that libertarians as a whole don't have a moral compass and that libertarianism is just about doing
whatever the heck you want. Drugs, hookers, it's all good.
But Roaming insisted that anyone taking issue with this characterization should watch the whole video and all would be explained. So I headed on over to CRTV and paid the $10 to renew the subscription that I had literally just canceled the week before. I was immediately presented with two issues. First, definitely felt like I had fallen for a disingenuous marketing scam because there is no video on the site titled "The Problem with Libertarians." I actually had to figure out which video it was by matching her outfit in the teaser to the thumbnail of the video. The video is actually labeled "Father's Day is Cancelled" and is primarily about the social justice hullabaloo around Father's Day. The teaser is actually just the first 2 minutes or so of a 3.5-minute clip at the very end of the video. This obviously isn't Roaming's fault and I'm not blaming her for it, but it does seem like CRTV posted this controversial clip just to get people subscribed and watching a video that was mostly about something else entirely. But hey, I mean, it worked. Second, unfortunately, if you've seen the Twitter thread, you've seen the video. While Roaming has never said that she's a libertarian, I always assumed that she was a classical liberal, and I swear it used to say that somewhere on the internet and now I can't find it. But either way, classical liberal, conservative, whatever, there's a lot of similarities between these ideologies. I found Roaming's channel shortly after I started making my own weekly videos, and while I didn't agree with all of her views, I really looked up to her as a fellow creator and as a political ally. But this video feels a lot like a political ally just throwing libertarians under the bus with false accusations and no real understanding of what libertarianism actually is. And that's really disappointing. She says that libertarians never talk about anything but pot and hookers. She says that libertarians aren't concerned with morality or economics, that civil liberties like gun ownership don't matter. But all of these things are the basics of libertarianism, and I'm honestly very hard-pressed to find a mainstream libertarian that doesn't talk about any of those things. I also can't say that I know anyone who only calls themselves a libertarian because they think it will magically help them avoid any consequences to their actions. Contrary to her video, libertarianism is not based on doing whatever you want, free from consequence, without social connections, or without any sense of morality or ethics. Nor do libertarians ignore economics. In fact, pretty much everything in libertarianism can be boiled down to personal property rights, including self-ownership, and economics. Most of the major libertarian thinkers have been economists. Even among all the different kinds of libertarians, pretty much all of them advocate for free market economics. And gun rights? Please, come to Massachusetts. The libertarians here are teaming up with conservatives and they are having free speech rallies and Second Amendment rallies up the wazoo. This whole idea that libertarians are just stoners that don't care about anything else is exactly the crazy image the media and government harped on to discredit any kind of third-party run. By saying a political group only cares about this one thing, it's easy to discredit anything else that group might stand for. And Roaming's video plays right into that. It's kind of like how suddenly anyone not liberal is a xenophobic racist, so no one will listen to them anymore. Yes, there are people that advocate to legalize weed because they want to smoke it. There are also people that want to decriminalize sex work so they can participate in those services. But it's more about the fact that people are getting arrested and thrown in jail for victimless crimes, meaning crimes that typically don't affect anyone except for the people participating. Legalizing weed is about cutting back the drug war, which has been used to influence economic policy. That same drug war has also been used to violate people's Second Amendment rights. Even if weed is legal in your state, if you have a medical card, you are federally banned from owning a gun. Delaware police even petitioned lawmakers to force pot users, even recreational users, to have a special designation on their driver's license so the police could prohibit them from getting a gun. Because of the drug war, law enforcement can also use the smell of pot as a reason for search and seizures, which is a violation of personal property rights. Because of the drug war, thousands of people have had their lives completely torn apart. Children have been killed and maimed because of the no-knock raids conducted in the name of the drug war. So even with this example, weed isn't just about smoking. It's about economics and self-ownership. It's about life and liberty. It's about the fact that government consistently uses regulation to reach far beyond the original problem it says it's tackling. Roaming says government's role is to protect its citizens. None of the regulations around pot protect anyone except for the government employees required to enforce those regulations. Not to mention, if any of these rules and regulations actually protected people's rights, it wouldn't have to be done at gunpoint. And just because I recognize someone else's right to smoke or engage in sexual commerce or whatever doesn't mean I condone it on a personal or a moral level. But it's not my job to tell other people how they should be living their lives. Which brings me to Roaming's other big point. She claims that she doesn't support libertarianism because libertarians never stop to ask themselves if they should be doing any of the things they advocate.
But when I talk to libertarians, especially young libertarians, I find they spend so much time talking about things we can do that they never really question whether we should do those things.
She says that libertarians don't have a moral compass and don't understand the importance of civil society. She says that one of the reasons that she doesn't support libertarianism is because she recognizes the need for families, churches, etc. to encourage good behavior and condemn bad behavior. I'm sorry, but these things don't suddenly disappear just because someone is a libertarian. Families and churches and communities would still exist in a libertarian society. Friends would still be friends. Parents would still be parenting. Churches would still be instilling whatever religious values. It's not the law or the government that dictates morality. In fact, I'd say if you're only deciding not to steal or murder or whatever because the law says it's bad, then you're probably not actually a moral person. Libertarians aren't emotionless cyborgs without ethics or morals. One of the founding ethical principles of libertarianism is the non-aggression principle, which means that aggression is inherently wrong and that no one should do anything to harm another person or violate their rights with the exception of self-defense. Boom! Morality. Honestly, it's very possible that she doesn't often hear libertarians talk about morality because we've all already discussed it to the point of beating a dead horse. Seriously, this is like all libertarians talk about for their first 6 months. She also talks about being frustrated when libertarians don't support her ideas about enforcing marriage, monogamy, or pair bonding. The problem is enforcing something as a whole on a societal level is very different than encouraging our friends and family members, and she seems to conflate the two. Moreover, when the government enforces something, it's typically not through incentives, but through punishments. And you can crack open any psychology book and it will tell you incentives always work better than punishments. And while I might personally believe that monogamy is a good choice, to use her example, I am not your parent. I am not your babysitter. I am not going to force you to live your life the way I want you to. I cannot stop you from making whatever choice you are going to make. If you want to sleep with everyone else in town, fine. I won't stop you, but then you're gonna have to deal with whatever gnarly STD you get if you don't do so responsibly. Because another big part of libertarianism is personal responsibility. If you make a bad choice, you need to accept the consequences. Those could be natural, cause and effect, or just the fact that if I don't like your choices, I might decide I don't want to associate with you anymore. Voluntary dissociation on a personal and community level are often talked about as possible consequences for whatever immoral or unethical behavior, even among anarchists. Even the idea of the free market holds that people make decisions on where to spend their money based on their own personal values, which then shapes the market. If you say this doesn't work, just look at the recent situation with Permit Patty and how her pot business is basically dead less than 24 hours after she called the cops on a black girl for, quote, illegally selling water. So I'm not sure where she gets this idea that every libertarian she's encountered is a hedonist who doesn't believe in personal accountability or have any sense of morality. I'd really like to know who she's referring to, like with examples. My only guess is that those libertarians were actually just edgelords on Twitter. That's it for today's video. I guess it also sort of qualifies as the Libertarianism 101 video that some of you have been requesting, so please let me know down in the comments what you think. As always, also don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, as it does really actually help the channel. And if you really like my videos and want to help support my channel, you can do so over on Patreon or through a one-time donation through PayPal, Bitcoin, or Litecoin. As always, thanks again for watching and helping me to spread the message of liberty.